Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Namaste Center. It's a really high vibration in here today, to say the least. I think there's lots of angels and nymphs around here just giving us lots of light and happy, joyful feelings, and it's wonderful. And of course, what we're here to do is really experience and be in the presence of each other and love and like-hearted people, and that we have, which is wonderful. So today I was going to talk a little bit about the story of you. And it's something that I know that has been sort of playing itself out a lot lately. You hear a lot of times people say, you gotta let go of your story, you gotta let go of your story, release the past, let go of your story, blah, blah, blah. And you know, it might go in one ear, out the other, but there's really a lot of value and meaning in considering doing this. And my intention today is to share with you why you may want to consider this. But first, I'm going to tell you a little bit about my story. So, not much. But, you know, I grew up in West Virginia, played golf, the whole bit, became a minister, and here I am today. That's about all I'm going to tell you. Now, so that was my life then, and here it is now. And I could go into my wild stories, and of course, if you were around my high school buddies, I would have to be there going, no, not that one. But no, really, we had a lot of fun. We definitely sowed our wild oats back in high school, and maybe you all can relate to that, maybe not, I don't know. But had a lot of fun, but things in my past really have less and less meaning and interest to me now than they used to. And I think that we're all sort of realizing that and feeling that. You know, that's, as I've been speaking a little bit lately on ascension, they say that one of the byproducts of ascension is you lose interest in things you used to hold on to in the past. And, you know, I have zero interest in golf right now. It's very strange, when that was such an important part of my life for a long, long time, over like 45 years of my life. So, and I'm not that old, so I started early. You're going to. So anyway, it's, but, you know, now it's become a whole different way of being. I just want to move more and more into what God's will is and what Spirit would have in mind for me to do, where, you know, Spirit would lead me, not leave me, left me here. So anyway, it's interesting because I still find myself when I meet someone new, where are you from? What do you do for a living? You got any family? Oh, where'd you live? Where else have you lived besides here? All this, you know, we ask those questions, and that's good because I think that's okay to connect with, sort of open up our hearts and connect with another person, which is fine and dandy, and that's what we want to do. But I think that there's something even more beyond and behind that. And it's really not looking at getting to know each other as physical bodies, as our resumes, maybe from the past, our accomplishments, our mistakes. You know, we can easily identify with that, with not only ourselves, but each other. And of course, with ourselves, we tend to beat ourselves up a lot for the past sometimes. So it's maybe something to consider that there's no value in that. And when we do go into our past, and well, if I went into some of my past and revisited that and then entertained it, I would feel miserable. So it's up to us to recognize the past is over, and it served its purpose. All your past except its beauty is gone, and all that remains is a blessing. So as Terry says, you can keep the good stuff. And that's really what's important, is keeping our hearts open, staying in our joyful place, and knowing that there is a bigger plan and a greater experience awaiting us if we just allow for that to happen. Well, I read this quote, which I found was very, I just loved it. It was from Ramana Maharishi. And it says, the waking life is just a long dream which keeps your attention away from what we really are. And, you know, we talk about this illusion. And the Course in Miracles speaks of this world is not our home. This is an illusion. This is a dream. We're asleep, dreaming of all this misery and challenges of life when our true home is in heaven. But of course, the waking life is a great distraction if we allow it to be. But as long as we're identifying and attaching to all of this stuff and our story of the past, and I can't move forward because this happened in my past, and it was really ugly and miserable, and because of my past, I'm really not, I just can't do it. I can't make it happen. Well, I've shared with you guys before when our minister teacher, my ministry teacher, her name was Barbara, had shared with us, we were talking about our past and our story. This was 20 years ago. And she said, you know, if you had a cruddy childhood, make up a new one. Let it go. In other words, give yourself the gift of remembering the good stuff. Making up a great childhood, that you had everything you needed, you were loved, and you had all the toys and clothes and traveled around the world if you want, because there's no more meaning to that than what we think happened. And so why not focus and elaborate on the good? And at that time, it was like, really? But now I'm beginning to, you can do that? Isn't that kind of lying? And but now I'm beginning to realize, as Maharishi says here, this waking life is just a long dream which keeps our attention away from what we really are. So the more we identify that, it just takes us away from who we really are. So, you know, who are we really? Well, we're divine spirit, we're divine love. We're pure consciousness, we're beings of peace, we're beings of joy, we're beings of light. And ultimately, when we get to this recognition and peel away our story and our past, we're literally extensions of God. We're a part of God. I love in A Course in Miracles, one of the lessons says, God is incomplete without me. And what does that really mean? Well, it means that until we all wake up from this illusion, this dream of separation, and we're playing our individual roles here, that the remembrance of heaven is incomplete. So this idea of a few people getting it and the others are left behind, I think in the end, as A Course in Miracles says, that last step to heaven, to awakening, is holding our brother's hand, and no one is exempt. So until we accomplish this, God is incomplete without us. So that makes this pretty powerful, isn't it? I mean, wow, God's incomplete without me. Because when the Big Bang happened, or the separation occurred, or we fell asleep, whatever you want to call it, when it was as if we went from oneness to billions of individual expressions of spirit. And we're all here expressing and playing our roles out. But in truth, if you look at it as a holographic experience, within each of us contains the whole of God. And of course, you know, that's when people say, I am God. Be still and know that I am God. That's even in scriptures. So we are that. But we've forgotten because we're so much into our story. We're so much into our past. And we're so wanting to cling on to it, and it might be just holding up your trophies from when you were in high school, or it may want to show your scars of when you were a child. But both are veils between us and knowing who we are as beings of light and of love. So, you know, the Course in Miracles talks about holy instants, and I think that we each, we can all relate to those glimpses we have when it's like, yeah, you know, there is something beyond this world, this experience. And it's like, aha, that's it. And it's fleeting. It's a glimpse, it's a holy instant, and it's like, ooh. So what happened there? We want that to stay. We'd love it if it was permanent. But I believe, as A Course in Miracles says, and really all spiritual practices and philosophies are a mind training, a discipline. And I don't mean discipline like rigid. I just mean it's a practice. It's you know, how do you get to Carnegie Hall? Practice. Well, how do you get to heaven? Practice. It's a spiritual practice. So, you know, we need to, when these glimpses happen, these holy instances occur, you know, we need to pay attention to those and really attach to that. Say, that's what I want. And that experience is beyond anything that this world has to offer me. Well, Jesus also said that I die daily. I die to the old. And that is really what we're here to do, is to every day, every moment, die to our old self. It's really releasing and no longer holding on to the past, good or bad. Just being fully present here in this moment and relinquishing it. And this quote right here says, 1,000 times we die in one life. We crumble, break, and tear apart until the layers of the illusion are burned away, and all that is left is the truth of who and what we really are. So that's what this is all about, peeling away those layers, good and bad, because the truth of who we really are far exceeds anything that this illusion or this dream has to offer us. That requires a little bit of faith and stepping out on a limb. So how can we do this? I mean, the practical aspects of really having more holy instances, more awareness. Well, number one, the course says it's a course in mind training. So we got to learn how to train the mind to be quiet and be still. There's a quote in the course, "Let me be still and listen to the truth." If I've got all this mind chatter going on, I'm not hearing the truth, I'm just hearing distraction. And so quieting the mind, there's lots of ways to do it. Meditation is a wonderful practice. Being in nature, it's a wonderful practice just to be in nature. There's something magical just about the simplicity and perfection of Mother Nature. So yesterday we had the beautiful experience of walking in the woods, and also Ellen came out and said, "There's fairies in here." And it's true, because there's fairies and elementals everywhere. We just don't see them because we're just so distracted, so much on purpose and mission, that we forget to really take in the beauty and the spirit of nature. Of course, inspirational art is always a wonderful tool for bringing us back to that quiet mind and that appreciation of beauty, and that, I think, is an attribute of God. Of course, reading great books is always, I go through cycles in my life. I'm on a reading book cycle now. I go sometimes years without reading a book, I'll admit it. But now it seems books are interesting me again. So inspirational books can be a great tool. People, right here, people, it's just being uplifted by each other and in support of each other, and in joy and appreciation and just honoring of each other, really seeing the face of love in each other. That's a great way to, I think, to be in this energy is a great way to move us towards quieting the mind and experiencing those holy instants. And that comes, of course, from creating community, which we have here. And every person, our community is incomplete without each and every person. It truly is. And of course, as Lynn McTaggart speaks of, she's wrote a book called The Field and the Intention Experiment. Intention, setting that intention is so key towards awakening. What am I intending here? You can add, am I intending to heal, or am I intending to create more separation? Is my intention to place my future in the hands of God and trust and faith, or is my intention to be distracted, see what the next thing is that's going to make me feel good for a few minutes? So of course, all of these things are practices, and there's lots more, but we need to identify with what brings us joy and peace and harmony and union. And it is a practice, so we can do this together. Well, the ego, the acronym for ego, if you've never heard it, it's edging God out. And that's really what the ego mind is about. And I remember, just on the side here, when I'd heard this years ago, and about ego, and I thought that was such a great one, edging God out, because that's what the ego wants to do, keep us asleep, keep us distracted in the dream. Well, someone was on Oprah being interviewed, some spiritual person, and they said that, and she's like, "Whoa, wait a minute, that was so powerful. Say that again." Edging God out. Oh, I've got to remember that. She gets so excited. So remember that one, edging God out. So the ego's goal is to keep us in the illusion, keep us searching outside of ourselves, thinking that there's something here that can actually make us happy, make us peaceful. Also, it contributes greatly to our suffering, because really all suffering stems from wanting conditions to be different. If we could just fully accept what is and be in this moment, and know that even if my body or the conditions of my life aren't expressing what my ego would like them to be, peace is really a decision, and joy is a decision that we can make. It's not based on conditions. So it's just, again, back to that mind training. So we need to also get off that wheel of needing to be better than we are right now. Anyone relate to that? It's like, okay, well, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do this, and I want to do this. And boy, that was a wheel I was on a long time. And I'm on it a little bit, but not as much. But that was, I was always striving for this. I was very motivated and da-da-da-da-da. And then it beat me up. I was tired. I said, I can't do this anymore. So literally, even with our intentional community, as I said, this has got to be easy. I'm not going to bulldoze through this again. I'm not bulldozing through life anymore. I'm taking time to smell the roses and enjoy. I think that's what we're here to do. Get good rest, good food, good friends, and enjoy this experience. And know that we're okay as we are right now. There's nothing we need to do. In the realm of eternity, it really doesn't matter how many diplomas and degrees and things that we have. It really doesn't. Or trophies. Would you all like to see some of my trophies? So, private showing, I'll bring them and display them. But anyway, but really we need to, bottom line, let go of the roles we play, detach from, the body and accept and fully love our body. I can remember someone teaching a few years ago or several years ago, he said that, he didn't really love his body. And I can't say I've gotten around to this one myself, but he would strip naked and stand in front of a mirror and just look at himself top to bottom and love it. Not quite there yet. But I'll let you know when I am. But the acceptance of our body just as it is also very healing. And again, not focusing on all the little bumps and rolls and this and that, but just fully embracing and accepting it. Ramtha really put this into my mind years ago too, is that we're addicted to our emotions. It's like, we're always seeking that next best thing. We're just always want to be charged up and excited about this and that. And, we get attached to our emotions, again, both good and bad. We get addicted to them. So we're always looking for that next better and greater thing. When really peace is the goal. Doesn't mean that we don't, go out and seek joy and have fun and ride motorcycles around and do things like that. But it's also knowing that I'm coming from a different place. I'm doing this as an expression of my love and my joy, not to necessarily think that that's going to find it for me. So the course really talks about meeting ourselves as spiritual beings and surrendering to the all that is. And again, acceptance in this moment, releasing the past, forgiving the past. Let go of your story because the past is over. And I can promise you, regardless of what your past is, God, the Course says, God, and many teachings, God loves us unconditionally. And there's nothing we can do to change God's mind about us. We can accomplish the greatest of goals, or we can be the worst of the worst, and in God's mind, we're still perfect. So it's really not about God, it's really about us remembering that for ourselves. And we can do it. And I like this little lesson here that I read, and it says, just to let you know some of God's key characters, by the way, in the Bible. Well, Jacob was a cheater, Peter had a temper, David had an affair, Noah got drunk, Jonah ran from God, Paul was a murderer, Gideon was insecure, Miriam was a gossip. Martha was a worrier. Thomas was a doubter. Sarah was impatient. Moses stuttered. Elijah was moody. Abraham was old. And Lazarus was dead. And so there you go. And so basically that's who God chose to be our teachers. Well, it's as they say, God doesn't choose the qualified, he qualifies those who choose. So, and the Course says that, it's up to us to choose. God's not saying you get, no, I don't like you. It's like it's up to us to choose God and choose love. So, and it's our job, it's an inside job. So self-forgiveness is really the key to all this. The more we forgive and accept ourselves, the more we're able to offer that gift to others. And in closing, this is a quote by Chuck Palahniuk, and he wrote a book called Invisible Monsters. And he says, when you understand that what you're telling is just a story, it isn't happening anymore. When you realize the story you're telling is just words, when you can just crumble up and throw your past into a trash can, then we'll figure out who you're going to be. Good quote. Let's get out of our stories, move forward, and know our best is yet to come. And so it is. Namaste. And